Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you along. I'm your host, Kris Merkel, and this is NFT Intel. We're going to take a look at the Sol mints coming up this week and then dive into specific projects, Eternal Dragons, Parrot, and Zoonies from the lens of the Sol Army, Project Intel. Now, please remember that nothing said on this program should be considered as financial advice. NFTs are highly speculative assets with no guarantee of return, so please do your own research before investing. NFT Intel is a partnership between Exodus and the Sol Army Project Intel. Exodus is a multi-asset cryptocurrency wallet for desktop, mobile, and also your one-stop Web3 wallet for Chrome and Brave. Now, I'd like to introduce you all to Paul C. from the Sol Army, who leads the Project Intel team, and to give us intel on what Project Intel is and what it's all about. And along with him is Sol Dozer, who is also on the Project Intel team, and they're going to give us a little bit of rundown on what's happening. So, Paul, I will first go ahead and toss it to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kris. Yeah, so both Dozer and I have been building Project Intel over the last number of months here. And Project Intel from Sol Army, the rundown essentially is that we're aiming to develop a news as a service platform. Getting into the blockchain space and NFTs in general is very overwhelming, and there's a lot of information out there that needs to be filtered through. There's so many projects minting each day and just a ton of places to look. What we aim to do is boil that down and filter through everything going on in the space, provide concise information, essentially like a news service or a newspaper, to a bunch of individuals across the different platforms. At the current time, we're just trying to build on Solana and do this for Solana NFTs. And eventually we will aim to go cross-chain and expand further.
That's excellent. So what, how do you position Project Intel then? Like, what is our, what is the goal of Project Intel? Who does it help?
Yeah, essentially Project Intel is aimed to both help communities and individuals. We work with a lot of different communities at the current time to provide basically alpha services to those communities. So a variety of communities already have in-house alpha, but some other new communities that are growing up and have just minted may want to add this for the members of their community. And at the current time, we do have our Intel bot hosted in Discords, and communities are able to enroll in that and get a notable mint or notable mints daily to their community, as well as a daily mints list condensing all of the information in the space. In addition, we do offer our services to individuals. If they don't have a community that has Intel as an option, they are able to sign up and get our daily notable mints and mint schedule as well.
That's great. So when you say community, you mean Discord communities specifically, or does it go beyond that?
Yeah, so at the current time, it is just Discord communities. Most of the NFT communities and projects we work with do primarily host out of Discords. In the future, we definitely are planning on expanding out of that. I can't reveal too much at the current moment on our plans for that, but it is coming in the very near future, increasing our reach and decreasing the barriers of access to people that maybe don't like Discord as much as most.
Sweet. Well, I can't wait to see more out of you guys. I really appreciate you being here and sharing all the information that you've gathered. The Project Intel, this is their day job. They go through and look at all the mints and give their honest opinions on what it is. I use them particularly. I'm disclosure. I'm also a member of the Sol Army, but I find the information and what I do in Web3 extremely valuable. So we're going to talk about the state of the Sol market really quick. And this is called NFT Intel. We will expand into ETH, but right now we're going to focus on Sol. So we're going to take a look at the current market. Surprise, everything's up a little bit. ETH has kind of pumped. Bitcoin is up. Sol is at $45 right now, almost $46. See. We can see here there was, our line. We were down for a long time. There was people who were saying it was going to go to 10. I was hoping that it wasn't, but we're at 45 right now. A few months ago, the all-time high was 250, so there's a long way to go. But really, there's a lot driving this market, and part of that is NFTs. So when we think of our NFTs, the way that people want to make money with their NFTs is they want to buy low and sell high, unless you're the other way around and like to buy high and sell low. But most people like to buy low and sell high. And the way to do that is to find new projects. And if you're what they call a flipper, get into the project low, ride a pump out, and then maybe flip. Or a long-term holder, like if you held a Blocksmith or something forever, or DGod, OK Bear from the Mint, those have turned into mighty returns for some of these people. So right now, let's go ahead and toss it over to Paul first for some breakdowns, some intel on what these projects are going to be about. What do we got on deck first, guys?
Yeah, so the first project, as you mentioned in our introduction, that we wanted to chat about today is Eternal Dragons. Eternal Dragons is a very interesting project that we've had our eyes on over at Sol Army for quite a while. They actually just minted their second batch of dragons today. They're doing their mint a little differently than some of the other projects that people might be familiar with, in the sense that their total supply is 10,000, but they're breaking it down into 10 batches of 1,000, of which the second one was minted today. As far as I know, these batches are broken down into different, I'm not sure what the correct word is, but I'll use species. So each batch will have a different subtype of dragon. And the second one had minted today. This is definitely a project we're quite interested in, because they have quite an interesting value proposition in the gaming space, in the blockchain gaming space.
Showing a couple of the previews for the batches. Now, our all 10, this was a project that has like a current meta that's happening right now that is a post-mint reveal. So when you mint the item, every single NFT looks the same. And then eventually they will reveal themselves. Are all 10 of the mints for Eternal Dragons gonna do that?
I believe that they are, but I think they're each revealing one at a time. So I think batch one is revealed already, actually. I will just check quickly, but I do believe that they are going to all mint unrevealed and then reveal a little short while after. It's kind of interesting. Definitely builds the hype and anticipation, kind of like opening packs of hockey cards or whatever. I don't mind that post-mint reveal at all, actually.
We're seeing go ahead, Dozer.
Yeah, Paul, you were right on that. It is. It looks like they're revealing sort of in between each of the different mints. So the first mint is revealed. Second mint is not revealed quite yet, but I'm sure that'll happen in the coming days.
Yeah, I'm seeing here on Magic Eden, it looks like some of them still actually haven't revealed from the, I'm not sure if some of these are our first batch. This is the Genesis batch. So will these actually have separate, Paul, do you know if these will have separate collections in their batches?
Yeah, so I think the ones that are unrevealed right now, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, the ones that are unrevealed right now are the batch number 2. So I used species earlier, but I believe they're calling it class. Each batch, I believe, has a different class. The first batch was the fighter class, and I will have to check what that second batch is. But it is pretty interesting in the way that they're doing it. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty interested in jumping in on this mint for sure, and some of the later ones. But we'll see if I have the opportunity to do that.
Nice. Well, how are they determining like whitelists for the batch? So for people who don't know, that whitelisting is where you get in early and you get maybe a guaranteed spot to mint if they don't oversubscribe. So how's the process with Eternal Dragons for whitelisting?
So they've already distributed all of the whitelists as far as I know. They had their whitelist and wallet submission, I guess, a week or two ago, and people were assigned into different batches. Some have one per wallet, some have multiple per wallet. I also just saw in their Discord yesterday, actually, that they were giving tokens for batch 2 to people that were still holding their batch 1 dragons. So I'm not sure if that will happen again for the future batches, but that is potentially something that may be worth looking into if they continue to do that for, let's say, batch 3.
Okay, and where are they minting? Because I don't see them on the Magic Eden homepage.
Yeah, so that one was a little bit confusing because they did have a Magic Eden Launchpad page, but they are minting on their, they have their own website.
Okay.
Which can be found in the official links in the Discord. So they've got eternaldragons.com/mint.
Yeah, so if you go to eternaldragons.com and up here on the top, the Access Mint site is right there. So let's go ahead and pivot here. Next, the next NFT mint that we're going to talk about is Parrot Tools. It's a brand new concept in the space here. What's the intel?
Yeah. Okay. I'll take this one. So,
All right.
So Parrots. This is definitely interesting. It's new, but it isn't too crazy of an idea. Essentially, what it is it gives the ability for people to view the other trades that other people are making, and their idea is to get to the point where you can essentially subscribe and be able to see the trades that specific people are making, pay them Sol in return to know what they're buying and selling and they're trading on a daily basis. And then the tool itself would take a cut of those subscription fees. I think it's 20%. The other 80% goes back to the trader who's selling their trades. Then they use that 20%, I would assume, to support the team. And then I don't remember reading about this, but I believe the 20% would go possibly back to the holders of the Parrot NFT. So it's an interesting concept. I've never seen it before. I've never seen this exact idea done in NFT form, but it's nothing too out of this world. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, the other cool thing that I do want to mention is when some of their, I don't know which term we're going to use for the people that are coming in and you can subscribe to them. We'll just say the traders or the experienced traders come in. I believe Parrot Tools has an algorithm that assesses kind of their activity and what they've done and is able to classify them into various different categories. So there will be some people that are much better long-term investors, maybe people that have held DGOD since they were 3 or 5, or some other people that are better quick flippers and are able to jump on those quick opportunities when there's some profit to be made. From there, I believe the Parrot Tools algorithm is able to classify those people into different groups and then allowing people that want to subscribe to sort of pick their trading strategy. Like, do you want to be more of a long-term investor? Here are some long-term investors that you can follow and subscribe. Or do you want to be more of a quick flipper, more hands-on in the day-to-day? You can subscribe to them instead. So I thought that was actually a really neat feature and kind of looking at that on-chain data and condensing it in a really, really nice dashboard and easy to follow way, which is a great resource for both newer people to the space and more experienced people that want to learn some new stuff as well.
What do you think what's your risk analysis on Parrot Tools? Like, since it's brand new, like, is there any indication people are in it for the meta, or are they just like, or are they really gun-ho over the NFTs, as we can see the previews for them right now?
For sure. Well, I'll just start by saying that I do actually really like their art. In terms of risk analysis, with the market conditions and everything that's going on, it is a little bit tougher to assess. These guys do have a little bit of a higher supply, 6,666. They've recently, and correct me if I'm wrong, dropped their mint cost due to the fact that Sol is pumping, which decreases that risk rating a little bit. However, these tools tend to be a little bit hit or miss. We've seen some tools do exceptionally well, kind of like Sol Decoder and other things like that, and then other tools that don't pan out too well. I would say this is probably medium to a little bit higher risk just because of the market conditions. But I do like the fact that they dropped their mint price a little bit to accommodate for the fact Sol is pumping. And I think that that's a pretty good look. The other thing that I do like, because I did chat with the team a little bit yesterday, is if you're reading through their white paper, they have a little bait tab where it's like when breeding, when Ponzonomics, and they kind of just cut to the chase and say, nope, we're very product focused and really focused to pushing through our product. We're not going to go and focus on those buzzwords and try and hook people in. So I'm pretty interested to see how this one goes. I'll definitely have my eye on it. Not sure what I will do, but it's definitely on the radar.
And where are they minting at?
I believe they are on Magic Eden Launchpad, and they are minting tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow, yes.
I'll say July 20th. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take a
Oh,
look.
sorry. They've actually dropped it to 1.69, not 1, according to Magic Eden Launchpad.
All right.
Oh yeah, it looks like it did. That might be even new. From I thought it was 1.9 earlier.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I'll mention though is for people that don't have these tools, they do have a few free tools. There are a few free tools that they have live, including a sniper extension. I have not used it myself, but I mean, it seems like it's getting reasonable feedback and reasonable reviews, so it may be something worth looking at if you don't have a sniper for secondary listings and you're looking for one.
I'll also add one of their long-term features that won't be released right away when the project when they mint tomorrow, but they want to release an auto buy feature where the people that you're subscribing to, as soon as they make a purchase for an NFT, you can have it set up so that your wallet would essentially just purchase that same project at the same time as them. And to me, that seems pretty exploitable. That seems pretty pump and dump prone. So that'll be interesting to see how they try to design that. That it seems pretty risky to me.
So there's a meta
absolutely.
on Twitter, right? And people talk about this all the time. Like, you have shills and influencers, and we've seen this for many, many years in like the ICO boom phase, right? We're kind of seeing it in the NFT phase. You have like a handful of people on Twitter that are either getting paid or they're not getting paid, but they like start talking about a project. Like, let's give you an example. Like Frank from DGods, the second he tweets about a project, like there was a slow mint last week, and then all of a sudden, like 2 seconds later, it was gone. Like everybody saw his tweet and went to the launch pad and bought one up. I can't remember which project it is now, so I can't go back and actually
I think that was
at what it's doing.
The Liberty Square. That was the squirrel one.
Liberty it was exactly Square? Yes, it was exactly Liberty Square. What do you think the Parrot, like, how do you think Parrot's going to affect that, right? Like, do you think that it's actually going to help teach people like how to trade, or will people just be like, oh, you know what, Sol Big Brain bought this, I'm gonna pop onto his thing, and if he buys something, I'm going to buy something?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think us over at the Soul Army in particular, I guess fall under the belief of like you catch a fish for someone. I'm gonna butcher the saying, but you know, it's like you catch a fish for the guy versus like you teach the guy to fish, kind of thing. Copy trading and kind of following what people are doing certainly can work. And I think it does in a lot of cases for sure, especially in a very hype driven market. But I think at the end of the day, education and having people that are willing to dig through the projects themselves are the ones that are going to have the largest returns. I mean, if it were me personally looking at this Parrot Tools, I know that I would probably classify myself under that more long term investment strategy. Like if I were to subscribe to someone, I would try and find those long-term investors. And the reason why I think that is because I don't think they're quite as prone to those like instant pump and dumps. And then you would have, I guess, a more stable long-term strategy, finding people that are good long-term traders and find those true value projects. So to cycle back to your question, I definitely think that we're going to see this perpetuate. I guess copy trading and everything like that is something that is done a ton because, I mean, all these blockchains are on a public ledger. I guess with this, all it's going to do essentially is take that data and make it really nice and concise and presentable to a lot of people. And I think that this platform definitely could further perpetuate that, but also has a lot of good use cases too. Just depends how people choose to use it.
Sounds good. When they solidify it, we'll bring it back here onto the channel and give it a run through and actually see what's happening. So we're got one more that we're going to share with everybody today. Now, we had a calendar of mints. I could show you the calendar of mints here on Blocksmith Mercury. These are just a handful of mints, and the couple that are curated here every day or curated here every week to say, okay, well, these are actually kind of the highlights of the week. There could be 30 mints a day. It's impossible to really be on top of them. And with more information, you can actually decide which mints are going to be the ones that you want to hit. So the last one that we're going to talk about, well, last 1.5, because there's actually a little tiny one after that I wanted to ask you guys about, is Zunis. Who's going to take, which one of you guys is going to take Zunis?
I think we could both chat about it for sure.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dozer.
Yeah, where to begin with Zunis? The project itself doesn't seem too unique, if I'm being honest. So just a quick overview of the project, what they're doing. It seems to be a profile picture type project. So they're an alien themed ecosystem. So their NFTs are going to be alien themed. I'm not sure exactly what that means yet. Kris, I'm not sure if you have any examples from their Discord, but it looks like it'll be probably some of the ones floating around on their website right there.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, there you go. So it'll be those. They're just releasing the standard stake for their native token, which they're calling Potion, which that isn't too out of the ordinary. That staking for whatever reason. They have rarity ratings and things like that. It's a super high supply of almost 9,000 pieces, each one minting at well, it was 3 Sol mint. Paul, did you say that they dropped that?
Yeah, they dropped it to 2.5. I think that's because of Solana pumping. I didn't read the announcement exactly, but yes, I do believe that they dropped it. And you can see in that Discord there, when you just flicked over there, it is 2.5 now.
Yeah, so that's on their mint day, they'll be bringing in over 20,000 Solana. And for a project that doesn't have any developers or anything like that, or any tools that they're creating, that's a lot of Solana, in my opinion. I don't know. I see this as being higher on the risk compared to the other two that we were talking about. It's a lot of money to bring into a project, 20,000 Solana. What else?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think these Zunis popped up during the brand meta that was kind of kicked off by OK Bears, and then all those other uh, big brandable NFTs to follow, like Trip and Eight Tribe and all the rest of those. That's when this one really started to pop up and accumulate a ton of hype. I still think it has a lot of hype, but I would agree with Dozer's assessment that I would rate this one a little bit more risky than the other two that we've talked about, because I think the other two, Eternal Dragons and Prosperous Parrots, have a good chunk more substance. There's a chance I'm missing something, but just from my review of them, I do think that those other two are a little bit lower risk in comparison.
All right, guys. That's some good intel. The last thing that I wanted to talk about now, I guess where does a person who's like looking to get into NFTs? I mean, first they go to the marketplace. They go, oh my God, there's 10,000 NFTs. How do I know which one is? How do I know which one is good? I mean, I've made the mistake of like not knowing what I'm buying and just like starting to buy stuff, and some of those haven't turned out too well. But like, when someone wants to, if they're not actually finding NFT Intel from the Sol Army, like they go to Magic Eden, what do you guys think the best course of action is for an individual to start finding out what's happening with some of these NFTs, whether it's going to be a good investment or not?
Definitely. I mean, the first thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
The first thing. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to talk over Dozer there. The first thing that I kind of did getting in this space, getting in the NFT space, is a lot of paper trading. So kind of trying to immerse myself in the space as much as I possibly can. Finding those accounts that are making some solid threads and making a lot of sense in the stuff they post, and kind of see what's going on in the space and just kind of paper trading in accordance to that. It actually took me quite a long time before I really was purchasing anything at a pretty high pace. I mean, my first mint was an absolute degen play, because General Sol, the guy who runs the Sol Army, one of the guys that founded and runs the Sol Army with me, basically egged me to do. I was like, what even is this? What even is a Solana? And we've come a long way from there. But it took me a long time to paper trade and really get immersed in the space, finding accounts and making connections with people that seem to know what they're doing. I definitely would say being patient, not rushing into anything, and definitely making sure you're keeping your emotions in check would be the biggest things that I would recommend to newer traders. One of the biggest things, especially lately, that we've been chatting about in the Sol Army is if you are feeling emotional about the things that you're doing and the things that you're holding, you do need to take a big step back. If you're being like affected mentally and physically by things going down, it's probably time to scale out a little bit and things like that. But I mean, sorry, I've sidetracked a little bit, but
That's all
if
good.
I were to just focus on one thing starting in the space is find those accounts on Twitter. Definitely keep an eye on what's going on in Magic Eden. What are the good metrics? Like, what is a good amount of engagement, Discord, Twitter following, and then paper trade for a while. Probably a month, 2 months, whenever you feel pretty confident with what you're doing before jumping in.
That's great advice. Any other stackable words of wisdom before we start to close out, Dozer?
I agree with you on Twitter. That's where I started. I probably read through Twitter feeds for weeks on end before I made my first trade. It takes a bit to get past the clear influencers who are getting paid for their posts, but find a couple of good accounts. Focus on the smaller following accounts because they're more likely to not be paid for the things that they're tweeting about. And really, you can find some quality advice. There's a lot of crap on there too, but I think that's the best place to start. When I started, I think I scrolled through Twitter, like I said, And then eventually I found my way into a couple smaller alpha groups that were just hosted in Discord, like any other project. They weren't linked to NFT or anything. It was just, maybe 30, 40 people, like-minded people chatting it up and just talking about projects that are minting and things like that. That's where you'll find the most quality content.
Definitely. And I'm going to echo that smaller accounts too. Just because accounts don't have big following doesn't mean they don't have great information. Some big accounts and some bigger names definitely provide good information and are quite genuine with what they're typing. But a lot of them, definitely you need to make sure you have a second opinion on some of the stuff that gets put out there.
All good advice, guys. Thank you so much. One of the little last half that I wanted to just chat about really quick was, you see it up here on your screen, is Fruits. I know none of us really know much about Fruits. It is minting this week on a brand new launch pad that Blocksmith Labs this is their very first launch. Fruits is, I guess, a brand project that actually has real world ties into snack foods and juice drinks. We'll be talking a little bit more about that next week as we kind of revisit like what the mint actually does. But that's minting this week on the block on Blocksmith Labs. So real quick, guys, where can we find you?
Yeah, for sure. So you guys can find us on Twitter at Project Intel. The handle is exactly as it sounds. And then on the Sol Army as well, we do have a page on the Sol Army website. We're in the process of separating ourselves out from that, but that's where you can find us for now.
Excellent. Excellent. And you can find Exodus at exodus.com to download your favorite multi-asset wallet, at least my favorite multi-asset wallet, and your gateway to Web3. We're bringing all the tribes home. The Web3 browser extension is Sol and ETH, and we will be adding Algorand very soon. So there you go. You heard all the intel. Now go take a look and leave some comments about your favorite mints of the week. Always fun when when you have to kind of go off script here. We're gonna come at you every week, everybody, with the mints of the week with Sol Dozer and Paul C from Project Intel. I'm gonna reach up here and see if I can unfreeze this, but whoop, fall off my chair. It's kind of exciting for the end of the program here. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We will be here next Monday for all of the intel. Paul, Sol Dozer, really appreciate you guys being with us today. Yeah,
Thank you,
Thanks
Kris.
so much for having us, Kris.
Anytime. And for all you out there, until next time, NFT on.